All right. The new Republican House was off to a running start this week, passing legislation to strip the IRS of 87,000 agents, passed by Democrats last year. They passed a bill protecting babies born alive after a failed abortion, both of which were universally opposed by Democrats. They also passed bills with bipartisan support to protect the Strategic Petroleum Reserve and push back on China. Now, one area many Americans are waiting for action on is education reform. Test scores are dropping. The impacts of COVID and masking and lockdowns continue to be felt. Kids are being taught filth in schools, including sexually explicit material, drag shows, and leftist gender ideology. But what can the new Republican House do to help get our schools back on track? Let's ask the newly selected chairwoman of the House Education Committee, Congresswoman Virginia Foxx of North Carolina. Congresswoman, thank you so much for being with us. Obviously, the challenges facing our nation's schools are immense. House Republicans have promised a Parents' Bill of Rights. Tell us what that is and when we would expect to see that come to the floor for a vote.
Morning, Tom. Thank you very much for having me with you. Yes, we had a good start this week, and I'm very pleased with what we've done. We came out strongly for life and against the IRS. So I believe we had a very good start. What we're going to do in the Education Committee is push back against the education establishment and have parents take back control of their children's education. We're going to be pushing parental choice. We're going to be taking the control of education away from the teachers' unions and the bureaucrats. The Parents' Bill of Rights is going to ensure that parents have access to the curriculum that their students and children are being taught. We want them to have the knowledge of what's in that curriculum. We want them to have the knowledge of where the money's going that is being given to the education establishment. And we want them to be very much involved with their children's education.
Mm-hmm. The teachers' unions, Congresswoman, they're already pushing back. In a press release just last night, AFT President Randy Weingarten said, quote, "Rather than reacting to MAGA-driven culture wars, voters overwhelmingly say they want lawmakers to get back to basics, to invest in public schools and get educators the resources they need to create safe and welcoming environments, boost academic skills, and pave pathways to career college and beyond." So basically, Congresswoman, they're saying, you know, all of this stuff about the drag shows for kids and the political agendas and the CRT, this is all kind of made up, that this is a concoction of conservatives or MAGA Republicans. Your thoughts in reaction to the AFT statement?
Well, it's interesting to hear Randy Weingarten mention the word basics. What we want the schools to do is get back to the basics. We want children to learn what we've always talked about: reading, writing, arithmetic. Those are the basics, and that's what we want them to be doing. That isn't what's been happening in the schools. The schools have been focused on CRT and gender transition and other things, emotional, social learning. That's what we have to get out of the schools. Yeah. We have to get the schools back to the basics. You know, Mike Pompeo has been asked, and I agree with him, who is the most dangerous person in the world? It's not Xi, it's not Putin. He said it's Randy Weingarten, and I completely agree with him. The teachers' unions have almost destroyed the public schools. We want to push parental choice, education choice. We want, and many parents are leaving the public schools because of how bad they have become.
Will we see another vote on a ban on federal funding for teachers' unions in this Congress?
Well, that is a tricky thing to do. We want parents to be voting again with their feet, and we want the parents to take the children out of the public schools if they are not happy with what's going on in the public schools, and that will destroy the teachers' unions because they won't have any place to be. Schools are closing all over the country because of parents leaving.
Yeah.
The the pandemic revealed to parents all the bad things that are happening in the public schools, opened their eyes, and now they're taking action.
Congresswoman, what does advancing school choice, which is, by the way, wildly popular with urban and minority parents, Democrats don't support these initiatives, but what does advancing school choice look like in this GOP House? How are you going to do it?
Well, what we want to do is push back against the terrible rules and regulations against charter schools. We will have a bill that will allow for contributions to be made to scholarship funds so that children can have their education paid for in other places. Education freedom is really catching on, and we're going to be pushing that in many different ways. The point is that parents need to know what their choices are and exercise those choices. And in many cases, they don't know about going to public charter schools, which have a lot more freedom in them. And they aren't always familiar with the scholarships that are available to schools that are out there that teach a very different curriculum than what's being taught by the teachers' unions in the public schools.
All right, we're going to have to leave it there. Congresswoman Virginia Foxx, you've got a big duty ahead of you as chair of the Education Committee, and we'd love to have you back to talk about your progress. Thank you so much for being with us.
Sure, Tom. Anytime.